Well, the issue of Boko Haram in Nigeria, has been, a threat to the government, and as it is, they are still, not, still remorseful. As it is, this is how protesting repentant Boko Haram fighters unknowingly disclosed that they are not remorseful. It is no longer news that hundreds of former Boko Haram fighters who surrendered their arms in the northeast region of Nigeria are kept in different camps in Maiduguri, where they are undergoing rehabilitation. The federal government has continued to make efforts to de-radicalize these repentant Boko Haram fighters before they could be reintegrated into society. However, a recent report by the Punch newspaper has revealed that the former terrorists are already protesting in transit camps located within Maiduguri. As obtained from the report, the protesting repentant Boko Haram fighters alleged that they have been confined in a place for about 4 months without seeing their wives and children. They went on to demand that it is either the federal government finds a way to engage them or release them if it has no plan for them. Arguably, the protesting repentant Boko Haram fighters seem not to understand the magnitude of the crimes they committed against the Nigerian state. Despite the atrocities they committed, the federal government was kind enough to extend an olive branch to them. I recall that these are the same set of people who participated in various degrees of attacks and killings in the northeast, rendered thousands of people homeless, turned many children into orphans, and worsened the humanitarian crisis in the region. However, the federal government has overlooked all this and welcomed them wholeheartedly. Since these repentant Boko Haram fighters were kept in camps, the government has equally continued to give them monthly stipends, phones, clothes, etc. Punch newspaper gathered. On the other hand, many of their victims are long dead, while several others are still recounting their losses. Despite this, the protesting repentant Boko Haram fighters appear to be more interested in leaving the camps and reuniting with their families. In my view, while these former insurgents were protesting, demanding that the federal government should release them, they also unknowingly disclosed that they are not remorseful about the atrocities they committed against the Nigerian state and the good people of the northeast region. You will agree with me that if they actually regret their actions and understand the consequences of what they had done in the past, they would not be protesting against their confinement. Arguably, if these repentant Boko Haram fighters were remorseful of their terrorism act, they would have been concerned about the welfare of the people they had brought severe pains on and untold hardship upon, and also appreciate the Nigerian government for receiving them with an open arm. However, this is not the case, as the former terrorists appear to be more interested in being engaged by the government or their release from confinement. With this in mind, one may not be wrong to say that these repentant Boko Haram fighters unknowingly revealed that they are not in any way remorseful about their terrorism act by the singular act of protesting their confinement, which is okay. This is the story we have now as it is. If you told me that these are the repentant Boko Haram or repentant terrorists, as they have said, but I believe the government of Buhari has not really done well in this area. They are being rehabilitated or facing rehabilitation or undergoing rehabilitation. What about those who they have that they have killed, their families, their loved ones, and also those that have they have put in penury and agony and hardship, by killing even more of their breadwinners. And this is so appalling, because when you tell me Buhari is working, he's not even doing anything as it is. This is a wrong engagement and a wrong approach to this effect. When you say somebody has repented or something, you should arrest them. They are terrorists. For crying out loud, they are terrorists. When you say someone is a terrorist, they are meant to be prosecuted. You don't hand over to the court, to lay verdict on them. And that's the question. So if they are not remorseful, they are still trying to say they should allow them go their ways to go and see their family. Yes, they can see their family definitely, but paying them salary, doing all sorts of things for them, and they don't still appreciate it, they claim, and that is in just in a nutshell, they are still not remorseful and they are still terrorists, because it is only terrorists that would be agitating why they have killed so many, and now they will come to the south to come and change the narratives, saying Sunday Igboho, Nnamdi Kanu, they are terrorists, they have been held in captive, but as it is, the ones that are carrying ammunition upon them, killing people, and still they claim, to be responsible for all the atrocities they have committed, but the government have not seen anything wrong in that. Upon that effect, they still want to reintegrate them into society. Do you think if they reintegrate them into society, you think they would still not commit so many havoc? As it is already, they have been committing havoc, like Lai Mohammed of Malami has said that those that went to the so-called Lekki Convention Center were not soldiers, and they were only wearing a soldier uniform to perpetrate evil. Okay, if you tell me they were wearing only soldier uniform to perpetrate evil, so it's equated to these so-called terrorists. Those are the ones they will send in front to go and destabilize the southern region, because as it is, the genocide and also the nepotism act of this so-called present government is so very, very alarming and glaring. So everybody knows what their agenda is. Yes, well, despite the atrocities they have even committed, the federal government was kind enough to extend an olive branch to them. I would say the federal government is not even kind enough. The federal government of this present Nigeria is gullible enough to also, grant them or give them preference. Recall that these are the same set of people who participated in various degrees of attacks and killings in the northeast. Yes, rendered many people homeless, and also turned many children into orphans, and worsened the humanitarian crisis in the region. You see, well, however, the federal government has overlooked all this. Definitely, yes, if they have said they have overlooked all this, and I believe the federal government is gullible by overlooking it and not handing over these so-called people, to the hands of the security agents, and transfer them to court and let court lay verdict on them. Since these repentant Boko Haram fighters were kept in camps, they say according to the agitation or the protest, the government has equally continued to give them monthly salary. You see, give them phones, clothes, and food also. Where is that done? For crying out loud, this government, it is very clear that they are in support of this so-called terrorism in the country. They are the ones sponsoring this terrorism, so there's no two ways about it. When the terrorists hijack the government, they will say, I don't know. The same way the Taliban hijacked the so-called Afghanistan. You can see how they started. Well, this is where I'm going to draw the curtain. I would like you to share your views in the comment section. Thanks for listening.